Hey there, you, me, and DC fans, and welcome if you are new. I am the stepson of Krypton,
I Mantis.
and today we are discussing Peacemaker. Now, this isn't about any particular episodes. This is about what is going on in the universe and with the Sons of Liberty and everything that's happened thus far, including mainly what happened in episode 6. Mantis, are you ready to jump on into the discussion?
I'm ready.
All right, guys, we're not going to waste any more time. Let's just get on into it. All right, guys. So as we know, there's been a lot happening in season two. About to say season six, season two, episode 6. That
Hey,
has
at least you got the issue episode right on this one. So
I did. I was working on it all like last week, so I didn't make the same mistake. But there's been a lot of questions about what is actually going on. We know, obviously, that got shown to us in episode 6 that this world, or at least this America is being controlled by the Nazis. We saw the flag, so it's raised a lot of questions. But before we dive into it, Mantis, because I want to get your thoughts on it, we did want to kind of talk about an important issue that I think Peacemaker is kind of making a joke of. And I don't know, for me, like it just kind of bothered me. I didn't really, find it as funny. And that is about an illness that affects 1 in about 300 million people, and that is bird blindness. Okay. It's a serious issue. And
yeah,
it has a friend like titties killed.
it's really sad that this. I know people hate James Gunn, but it's just a shame that they make light of this now. I mean, I know the
The
whole
whole
what is it? The political correctness world is kind of going the other way at this point, which I'm not. I'm fine with that. It's just this is a very serious issue. It's like making fun of people with cancer. I don't understand the direction or the thing they were trying to get here, but we do not condone any of that at all.
Yeah,
We're totally against it. So
we support people with bird blindness. So, we don't want any, meta ducks or anything. We don't want anybody's life being put in jeopardy because of somebody taking advantage of such a serious condition. So that's our public service announcement. Um, Moving on from that, I know that was a little dark, guys. I'm sorry, but it's important. We felt we had to bring it up. Mantis, how did you feel about the reveal in season or God, episode
you
6?
were so close. You were so close. I gotta say, it's not like I was blindsided on that. Because again, guys, if you've kind of watched, we've done a couple of videos on Peacemaker season 2, but we speculated about this in one of the earlier videos and earlier in the season when we were watching the episodes, and it just I think you mentioned you didn't say they would be Nazis, but I think in one of our maybe we did it on video, maybe it was a side conversation, but you're like, you know what I've noticed? There's not like a lot of like black people or like Mexican people or Indian people or really anyone else that's not white that was showing up in the other Earth there. So I gotta say I wasn't super surprised, but I kind of was disappointed just because it seems like low hanging fruit to me. Um, I mean, the boys kind of did it to an extent in that same low hanging fruit thing. I don't know. I, you know,
Now, here's the only thing with that. Now, I didn't exactly say, I said that, yes, you don't notice that there's a lot of people of there's not a lot of ethnic diversity, I believe is the words I use that, but also
yeah,
that I believe that, things were too perfect that it was going to be like, the
something.
other shoe is going to drop right now. I know a lot, I'm not taking credit for it. Like, oh, I'm a prophet. I know a lot of people online had that they realization that they were noticing the same thing. Now, I will say this though, the Lex Luthor totally off topic, but the Lex Luthor reveal, I said, if you watch the video, we recorded it on a Wednesday. I said that, and then by the time I got the video out, the next episode 6 was out, and I just look like a dumbass, but that's fine. I'll take that mantle. However, the one thing I will say about this, though, different is that there has always been these other universes. I know he walks call them dimensions. They're not other universes though that have had the Nazi type of propaganda and oh yes, the America lost the war or what have you. Most notably, if you look at like the Arrowverse, okay, they did the Crisis on Earth X.
That flag died a long time ago. Oh, it still means something.
And that was, obviously the Nazi, Earth X was the Nazi realm, which is in the comics as well. That, you know, America
Mhm.
lost World War II, Nazis had taken over. So that they're playing that it is from a different Earth, I'm okay with that. Now, that was the other speculation is this Earth X, which has been in the comics, or is this Earth 2? Because the Sons of Liberty are most notably known their home base being Earth 2, which also has had issues with the Nazis and Nazis coming to power for a brief period of time in there. And it's more like the silver age of comics
Mhm.
is Earth 2, so everything happened substantially earlier. Superman was part of the Justice Society, not the Justice League, so things did different. So it could be both, it could be hybrid, but the most notable thing of it is that this whole, like, I know where we're at, we're not going to go into it politically with us in the real world, but everybody wants to scream that, and it's like, they're not. I don't feel like James Gunn was doing that. This is literally, these things happen in the comics. Now, I'm not
Mhm.
going to say whether he's using that or not, and this is a great out, but uh I'm taking it as just a comic book and superhero fan of, we've seen this is like an Earth X, so there's nothing more to it. That's how I'm wanting to believe it, right? So I want to be
Yeah,
entertained.
I agree. I think you're probably right there, and think it could just be a coincidence. Like, look, I mean, I don't know what country everyone that watched our videos are from, but everyone in the world knows who Trump is. And there's a lot of, it's ever since he has tried to become president way, 10 years ago, whatever it is, almost at this point, like it's always been the same kind of thing from Hollywood. While I would expect it from James Gunn, it's also, like you said, it's part of the comic book story in this sense. So, like, it's just an opportunistic time that he could use it if that was his intention, or it could just be coincidence and it means nothing. Either way, to me, again, I like to be entertained, like you said, and if they can stick with the canon in the comics, even better. Um, I'm only really strict canon wise with Lord of the Rings for whatever reason.
Sure.
But this, yeah, I mean, there's precedent for it, and not like precedent 2 years ago they wrote a comic book, so let's throw it in the series now type of precedent. More like it's been in there for a good minute, precedent. So,
50s and
and
60s.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, totally fine with it. Again, my only beef with it was like it's just such low hanging fruit to do it. Um, but I do, well, I say the way that it was written into the show, they did hide it fairly well. Because the only other time we saw the, like, since this is, who are the Sons of Liberty, we did see them, as you reminded me, in episode 3, right?
Yes.
Of the season, where Chris kills them all.
Oh, wait. What happened?
And they do make them, it looks like they're bad, right? Like they're trying to blow up this building, but the way that the people were acting, they weren't acting like terrorists, right? They weren't ruthless. They weren't trying to kill everyone in the building with their guns. They,
You can't come in here with that stuff. Stop! Look at the fuck on the floor!
even like when one of their people got hurt or killed, they were visibly upset, like they were really good friends with them and partners and whatnot. So, we they kept the storyline, the reveal of that under wraps pretty well, until till this previous episode 6. There, I thought one of the good things that like they did with Adrian's character was making him find out that he's friends with Chris, and he thinks Chris is the Chris from this, whether we want to call it Earth X or Earth 2, that is a part of this Nazi force or whatever, and he's leading the rebels against that, right? So I love this angle with Adrian being the goofy guy that's actually the leader of this other resistance, and it. I thought that was a good angle for his character in this film, in this series. I do want to see where that goes, and if it's going to come to a head with Chris, and it kind of freaks him out to have to kill Adrian at some point. So
Or what I was kind of hoping for, because we haven't seen a lot from Adrian this season as far as action wise, is, does Adrian find out and he tell him that, hey, our Chris isn't like that, but he killed your Chris. So now
Right.
he's a hero, right? You killed his arch enemy. So are we going to get a team up of vigilantes? That would
Yeah.
be awesome, right?
Maybe. Or is the Adrian gonna go and kill everyone at Argus in front of Chris and he freaks out? That would be way funnier to me. But
Something like that, or at least he's got somebody to bounce like alligator facts off of, and whatever other discuss manta ray facts. I've
yeah.
just so you know, again, the Sons of Liberty, while we've seen, like I said, Arrowverse and in comics, we've seen other iterations of. Now, if you watch the Arrowverse back, they say that the group is freedom fighters, right? They don't necessarily call themselves the Sons of Liberty. Now, we do also know in the comics that the Sons of Liberty have actually traveled from Earth 2 to Earth X. They were pretty well massacred, but so we know that there was the freedom fighters over in on Earth X that necessarily weren't called the Sons of Liberty, and we know the Sons of Liberty have gone to go help them out because obviously they all have the same goal, right? They're all trying to eradicate the Nazi regime. So I don't. It'll be interesting to see where they go with that. For in my mind though, because I know what's happened on Earth 2 with the Nazis as well as the Sons of Liberty more prominently, that I'm like, it would make sense if this is Earth 1, the very next door you come to is Earth 2.
Two.
But then again,
Right.
I will say the only thing that poked a hole in that theory when I thought about it was the xenomorph. As actually it's funny, I called him that before Economos says it in the last episode.
Yeah.
He comes out of the next door, really, if you think about it, because that door is the closest to Peacemaker, and it's right outside their door. But Peacemaker's door is the next one that actually has like a lock on it. And I'm hoping maybe we'll get a little more information of why they both have the locks on them. But the other one just seems to be able to come and go. I don't know. But
Yeah. Yeah. Who knows? We've talked about the little pocket dimension thing before in another video. It's like, I don't know. There's too many. I don't want to get too crazy trying to break down the plot holes with that thing because this is another reason why I don't like multiverse or time travel bullshit because there's too many loose ends and shit to tie up. That's why I hate that type of shit. So
well, and that's where I'm hoping that we'll wrap this season now. I know we're really kind of discussing more of the Nazi Sons of Liberty um, issue on here, but there's also news that James Gunn said that there's no guarantee, like they don't have a season 3 of Peacemaker on the books yet, right? So hopefully this kind of wraps everything up. We know after seeing Lex Luthor, they're going to be using him for some other things, obviously to track down the portal that Chris is using. Maybe it's going to set up Man of Tomorrow that I'm still believing is going to be Brainiac. Maybe not, but it's just there's too much of a coincidence having Lex in there, and we know. So I'm thinking that's how they'll end it, and that's why maybe there won't be a setup for a season 3. Maybe we'll see Peacemaker come to one of the movies as side character. Now is
I
probably
think you will.
what's going to happen on it. So
Yeah, because I mean, as much as we were talking off camera about the season yesterday, and I was like, this season I don't really care for as much as I did the first one, and mainly just because there's not as much action. The comedy's great, the writing is pretty good. It's just I don't know. I wanted more action, but what I will say is I do think John Cena as an actor has done a lot better in these past 2 seasons. You can see his growth as an actor pretty well. So I mean, throw him in a movie, his own movie, throw him in, whatever you want. I think he'll do fine. And like you said, they don't go along with season 3 for Peacemaker. These characters, James Gunn did say whether they do that or not, like you said, they're going to go in. Some of these characters will be in other TV series, will be in other movies. So,
well, we know Maxwell Lord's obviously a part of this universe, and it's also his brother. So we know we're going to see him again. We know Harcourt's going to show up somewhere because he's always going to put his wife in another project.
obviously.
Doing. So
Yeah.
we know there's the Waller series coming out. So Waller's going to be in it, which will probably end up dragging Economos in there somewhere. Rick Flag Sr., we know we're going to see him. So I can't imagine, I think the only characters we'll probably end up dropping might be, and I don't even want to say Adebayo because she's Waller's daughter, is maybe my favorite other than Peacemaker, which is Vigilante.
Yeah. I know. Vigilante's so good. Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
I think it'd be cool to have like a vigilante, like if you bring Green Arrow into it, bring Vigilante into it, because in the Arrowverse they were, even though I know it's not necessarily always the thing, but I don't
Mhm.
know. Now we guys, we're recording this on a Thursday. We're recording it before Peacemaker episode 7 is getting ready to drop tonight. However, it doesn't drop till like fucking 9 o'clock our time, and I have to be asleep by then. I gotta be up at 4 a.m. So I'm not gonna like I'm gonna edit this video, get it out before it releases. So and I'll make sure to tag it that it's not a review of episode 7, but we will probably wait until the series wraps. So when we get through episode 8 and then do the last 2 episodes, just because, these don't
Yeah.
do as well with the views, because people are like, oh, you're not doing a reaction to it, like, and you're not showing the video. Yeah, we're not going. I'm sorry, we're
Yeah.
not going. You don't want, like, I don't want to watch the fucking thing for the first time and try to react to it. I want to pay attention to what's going on. Okay, that's how we bring you Easter eggs and everything else like that. If I'm just sitting here watching intently, kind of fucking
Yeah. We talked about this. We talked about this. We even tried reaction content. Now, to be fair, aside from some of the Reacher videos, most of what we reacted to we had already seen. So it was like faking it essentially.
well, no, not
And
so
for me,
you had seen was Lord of the or the Lord of the Rings series. You hadn't
mhm.
seen any of Reacher, and neither of us saw Flash, and neither of us saw Black Panther. So
Well, I guess
you would
I
only
just
seen like just the Lord of the Rings, I think.
well, that and Arrow, the one episode of
Oh
Arrow.
yeah, we
But
did on
re-
time. That was
regardless, I feel like I'm in this box where I have two options. It's either A, I've already seen it, so I can act like I haven't seen it, so I don't miss anything, so it doesn't matter. Or B, I haven't seen it, in which case I'm gonna just pay attention and not talk, and the content we would make on the reaction would be shit. So that's why we don't
well,
do
we
it.
don't do reactions anymore, guys. We did it
Well,
for a
that and
dark time in our history, and YouTube wanted to try to block everything. So you don't get reactions to Peacemaker. You get our thoughts, our discussions, feelings, and our
yeah,
predictions, which may or may not come
yeah,
to light. So,
yeah.
all right, guys, if you have made it with us this far, and I promise for this video, I'll put a marker. So if you just wanted to skip everything we just said,
Yeah.
um, but if you've made it with us this far, consider giving the video a like, subscribing to the channel, having the bell notification click so you will get alerted when we release the final video for Peacemaker, as well as everything else we're doing with all the upcoming news in the DCU, as well as everything that we're doing. We're doing so much now in the comics that it's getting
Mhm,
almost to the point of it's a little difficult to keep up with, right? Like we got a lot of
mhm.
videos every week we got to put out for the new fresh comics, so that you guys don't even have to read them. We will break it down for you. So Mantis has got some really good ones coming up, including some of the Batmans. So stay tuned.
Mhm.
And Mantis, anything else before we go ahead and wrap this issue slash
Yeah,
episode?
yeah. I just want to say that thing that Adrian said about Harcourt being a slut. That's just not true. Don't believe any of that.
To be fair, he was saying that to mask his vigilanteism. So it was all a ruse. He did not mean that. And guys, that is going to, before we go off the rails even more than we already have, that is going to wrap it for us on this episode of You, Me, and DC. Until next time, we'll see you then.
Later.